Hello friends, today again I'm before you to discuss the case study which I gave yesterday. So now let us see what was the case study and what can be the model answer for that. Now the case study basically relates to one undercover reporting, and it reads: a probationer in your department poses as a beneficiary to expose corruption but violates conduct rules. How do you balance whistleblowing and procedural propriety? So basically, before I start for discussion of this case study, I just want to tell you once again, the case studies which I'm giving are mentioned in only two, three sentences. Same with the same content, it can be elaborated in about half page also, so which you will get in actual exam, a half page case. But the thrust of the answer and the actual answer will be the same if the crux of the case study is same. So you should understand in that sense, because I'm not writing unnecessarily whole story. I'm just writing the what is the actual case and what should be the our response. And response has to be legally correct, it has to be ethically correct, and we have to then support our response with ethical and legal provisions, uh, and accordingly we have to proceed. So and before we start evaluating ethically, we have to give some brief introduction in which we have to express our intent, what we are going to do in future paragraphs, or what we are going to tell in future paragraphs that should be told. uh, if possible, try to put one engaging or catchy line as a beginning and as an end also in some of the answers. So here also we are trying to just tell you how it can be done basically. So in this, if you see the introduction, the first line is quite meaningful, quite attractive, and it carries the whole basically strategy how you are going to deal with this case study. So the case, answer starts: when rules are bypassed to uphold values, governance must decide whether to punish the breach or reward the intent. So this is very important, because here the probationer, even though he has violated the rules, but his intent is quite good. Basically, he wants to expose the corruption, and I think that can be the one of the very reasonable process. But since he has violated the rules, so there is a problem in this. As a departmental head, what will you do? Whether you are going to take some action against him, or whether you are going to reward him for identifying corruption. So all those dilemmas basically we have to express and deal, and then decide what to do, what action will be taken. So next few lines, the things is explained like that: a probationer at my department is disturbed by corruption in welfare delivery, posed as a beneficiary to expose the irregularities. While the operation led to the suspension of corrupt officials and public trust was momentarily restored, the method, unauthorized impersonation, violated all India service conduct rules. 1968, raising a dilemma between judicial whistleblowing and procedural propriety. So basically, this is the dilemma. Now, let us say what are the ethical justifications or ethical theories which support or oppose this action. So, we are quoting Immanuel Kant. The act embodies Immanuel Kant's deontological ethics, reflecting a moral duty to expose wrongdoing. It also aligns with J.S. Mill's utilitarianism, as the action benefited a wider public, greatest good of the greatest people. It also upholds John Rawls' principles of justice and fairness, correcting exclusion and institutional injustice. Ethically, the probationer acted with courage, but outside institutional boundaries. So this is the what a probationer has done. He has acted with courage, definitely. So these ethical theories definitely support him, but he has acted outside institutional boundaries. Now, what are the procedural violations he has done? Let us try to understand that. All India service conduct rules have been violated. That has been mentioned in the first para itself. Civil servants are expected to uphold restraint, hierarchy, and lawful means. So this is required for a civil servants, because then only, unless there is a discipline, unless there is a hierarchy, unless there is a restraint, things may go wrong at many times. Sardar Patel envisioned this civil service as a disciplined steel frame. So discipline is very, very important. So if discipline is broken, there is a problem, where individual impulses must be balanced with institutional cohesion. Unchecked, such acts risk normalizing rogue methods under guise of integrity. So this is again important. So now what can be the response? Because this you have explained, one ethical, issues we have explained, then procedural problems we have explained. So now let us see what can be the calibrated institutional response. As a department head or as a team head, what will you do? Issue a formal advisory, appreciating intent, but cautioning against breach of conduct. So this has to be done. Act firmly against those found guilty of corruption, because that has to be anyway done. Strengthen internal grievance channels under PIDPI Resolution 2004 and through the Chief Vigilance Officer, because every department has Chief Vigilance Officer. If you are aware of government functioning a little also, in government, every department has a Vigilance and Chief Vigilance Officer. And at the state, there will be Chief Vigilance Commissioner or Vigilance Commissioner. At central level also, there is Chief Vigilance Commissioner and the team of Vigilance Commissioners. So they are basically are responsible for checking these kind of irregularities, and from time and again they issue advisories, they issue warnings, they issue guidelines how these things can be checked. So internal grievance channels have to be strengthened through Chief Vigilance Officer. Then introduce ethics in practice modules. At Labasana and training, other training academies. All states have training academies there, plus National Training Academy at Missouri also, because the probationers have to be ethics in practice module should be given to them, so that already, I mean, in some of the academies it's going on, but then as a recommendation, you have to definitely include this also, focusing on lawful whistleblowing, dilemma resolution, and administrative restraint. So all these things should be taught to them. In conclusion, ethics in public service is not a conflict between rules and values. It is their convergence. And again, we are quoting Paul H. Appleby. Rightly noted, ethical administration is about enabling truth within the framework of legality. So, framework has to be legal, and then truth needs to be enabled. So, this is the discussion pertaining to case study and a model answer also. Now, tomorrow we'll be taking up one theoretical question. Now, let us see what question we'll be taking tomorrow. This is the question. Is objectivity always desirable in public service decision making? Critically examine with reference to conflicting stakeholder interests and humanitarian considerations. So basically, there are two parts in the question. If you see, is objectivity always desirable in public service decision making? So first part we have to answer in about let us say 50% words or 40% words. Then second part is critically examine the reference to conflict with reference to conflicting stakeholders, interests, and humanitarian consideration. Then second part, we have to critically examine this with reference to conflicting stakeholders, interest, and humanitarian consideration. That also we can take in another 60% words. And critically examine means we have to also say positive points, negative points, how balancing can be done, whether objectivity is always desirable, or there are certain conditions when it is not desirable, it has to be moderated by some other ethical values. So all those things we need to explain. So this question we will be taking tomorrow for discussion. Thank you for watching today's video. We'll meet again tomorrow with the discussion on this theoretical question. Thank you one and all.